Hi everyone, it's Andy Glenn here from SharksTV. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to show you a little video about when we had the chance to meet with Martin Grubb, Sharks Head Coach. Myself and Darren, also from SharksTV, had the chance to do a little Zoom call with Martin. We recorded it for you, so we'll see what he's got to say. But before we move over to that, just a reminder to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, like for the subscribe here on YouTube, and you'll get the latest updates from us at SharksTV. But let's go over to see what Martin had to say to us just the other day.
Thanks for being the first person on SharksTV, Martin. What do you think about new SharksTV channel? What do you think it might bring to the Sharks club?
Yeah, obviously I'm honoured and I'm excited to be the first person on SharksTV, and I think it's brilliant. A few years ago when Duncan Spears Senior used to film some games for us, and he used to put the whole lot on, but it always be very difficult to try and get SharksTV off the ground. And I think looking at the way, obviously the lockdowns been an inconvenience to the sport and getting people together, but I think as a club we've got to find ways to get out to our fans and stay engaged with them, and give them, obviously I would think, highlights and the kind of hockey stuff, but I think it's also important for us to connect and engage with the supporters and show that we're a family club, we're a fun club, and I think being able to do that with SharksTV is going to be tremendous, because I know for speaking to you guys, some of the stuff that's got planned, and some of the stuff that hopefully is to come, and I think everybody will really buy into it. They'll really enjoy what the content that's going to be out there, and I can't wait to see it flourish.
Fantastic, thanks for that. I mean, we've had a tough time being without hockey, because we were going great last year. Last season we'd won the Scottish National League, undefeated. We were through at the Final Four, both north and south of the border, and then it stopped. What are your thoughts on last season, Martin? Do you think it was good? What were the particular highlights for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a coach, you're always going to have areas of development. You definitely have to give the fact that we're a young team. We're certainly a work in progress at the beginning of the season. I think we brought in quite a few young players who had never really played the amount of games that we were going to ask them to play as a club, and we knew it was going to take a little bit of time for them to settle in, both physically to that side of the game, and obviously to the new systems and structures that some may have been and some may not have been used to. So I think, we started great guns. We got a couple of good come from behind victories in Whitley Bay, and it set our confidence up. And I think up until kind of Christmas we were doing really well. I think we were playing really good hockey. The Christmas break, as much as everybody was needing it, I think it came at a bad time for us, because we were just really gathering momentum. And then you've got a little bit of a break. We come back, myself and Liam were on international duty, so I think that kind of upsets the apple cart a little bit. And but for there, we still got back to where we needed to be. We still put in some really good performances. Like you say, I think it doesn't matter the level of hockey. Any unbeaten season has got to be a memorable one, and it's definitely a great achievement. And especially when you look at some of the games, I thought the Tigers last year improved tremendously, and they put up a good fight in a couple of the games. Obviously, Murrayfield were some of the best games we had, and I think twice was kind of 4 seconds to go that we managed to get one over on them. So as much as people give the SNL a bit of a hard time, I think for a supporters' point of view, and certainly from our club and development point of view, it was invaluable to us. And obviously we're delighted to go through unbeaten, and just disappointing that we didn't get the chance to go through to the Final Four weekend after clinching that spot in the last game before we got shut down. NIHL, I still think finishing second was still a very good achievement. I mean, Whitley were obviously the winners of that league, and worthy winners, and they just had a bit more size and experience than us, and I think our young team were getting there, and I would have liked to have got a chance to try and get one over on them in the playoffs. But as I say, you've got to give them credit. I think the games against them, maybe barring one weekend where they did take us to town a little bit, we competed, we were in them, we obviously won a few of them, and the players were starting to learn. we obviously also lost a couple of guys mid-season. Obviously, Lewis went, great for Lewis. He went away to Leeds and to the higher level and to join the rest of the guys at the beginning of the season. We had managed to produce and push to that higher level. So, I think all in all, we got to be happy. Northern Cup, there's maybe a tinge of disappointment that we never made the final. I know we get beat for the winners, which maybe softens the blow a little bit, but obviously that was in our sights. We wanted to try and win every competition we went into. I think when you look at the amount of games these young players got, I think when you look at the exciting brand of hockey that we tried to play, I think we've got to still say it was a successful season. And like everybody, I think we're just disappointed that it was stopped short. And both as a playing and staff point of view, and certainly for our supporters, we would have loved to have had the chance to go to both hopefully an NIHL weekend and an SNL weekend, and obviously try and give the supporters something to sign off with, a bit of cheer and a bit of celebration at the end of this. But obviously COVID had some other ideas and it wasn't to be.
Yeah, I think you were talking about the Murrayfield game in the Cup. I think when we lost that goal near the end at home, to just go, just to have the two in front, that proved to be the deciding moment. And as you say, we lost a few players through the years. Well, Jaakko Heiskanen went back to Finland unwell, and we brought in Victor Nestrasov. He played well for the time he was here. Was there any highlight, any players you want to highlight as being really good? Because the young players were fantastic this year, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody specifically that, it's probably that favourite part of a coach that says, there's nobody that stands out. And I think that was one of our key strengths. It was a team effort. I mean, people are going to look at people like Peter Gappa, who, he walked away with the accolades that he did at the end of the season, and rightly so, but ultimately that's the kind of thing that you bring somebody like Gaps in. That's what he's there to do. And, he helped people like Ewan Anderson, who jumped up to that. He was a beneficiary of Lewis obviously going to the higher level, and Ewan stepped up and done a great job. Like you say, Jaakko was going really well until illness and really curtailed his season. And Victor did do well when he came in, but it was also difficult coming for the Czech Republic into here. And, probably by the time we were going to see the best of Victor, the season was getting called. So, it was difficult for him. But I think, everybody contributed. You look at, there's Liam again went and got international honours. You had Liam, Rory, Scotty were up and playing Elite League hockey. And I guess as a club, we're definitely proud of that, and the way that even the reports they got for Zach Fitzgerald and the Glasgow organisation, how they represented both us and themselves at the elite level, it was fantastic. And then right at the other end of the scale, you had Andy Craik and Scott Ray coming into the fold right at the very end. They both managed to pick up points. I think they both scored at least a goal, and and kind of everybody in between. Like, you can go through it with your Rurys and your Marcuses and Kieran Hare and their real first proper season of senior hockey. They came on. Guys like Gordon Horn and Scott Crane, Stevie Adams, who a little bit older and more experienced, but have been playing a lot of SNL, stepped up and done their job. And I think both Jamie and I have always tried to pride ourselves on helping people and helping players improve, and I think we've done that. And we mixed experience with youth, and I think we've got a solid base. Hopefully, we've got a solid base and a solid core of players here to build on, and to try and keep building on to keep playing hockey the right way and keep giving our supporters something to get excited about.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a pleasure to watch the young Sharks develop through the season, and the more experienced players really helped them. There's some real good performances, and I remember Andrew Craig getting his first goal. It was great. It was great to see. And of course, we lost Big Horny at the end of the season, and that was a privilege to watch him last season as well.
Yeah, Kyle's he's a guy I've known since he was young. Him and my brother have been friends since I must have been 4 or 5 years old, and I've grown up. Kyle's dad was one of my first coaches, and a wonderful family. And as a player, I think he was he was starting to become a little bit underappreciated where he was in Fife, and I've been trying to get him for a couple of years. So he obviously came down, and yes, I mean obviously we never got him in his prime, but his experience, I mean that old head on his shoulders, the way he helped the young players, the way even at the twilight of his career, he could just slow a game down at his pace. It didn't matter what the opposition was. Played the game at his pace. He could see passes that nobody else in the building would see. And more importantly, he's just a good person, and he was great in the changing room, both for the young players, and just for a bit of humour and camaraderie with the boys. Even as a coach, and Jamie would say the same thing. We could still lean on him because he just had so much experience, and it was difficult. It was difficult for him knowing that COVID ultimately cut short his career. He knew he was kind of close to that, and he wanted to go on his own terms. And then he called me in the summer asking if I'd be okay with him maybe going and playing a few games with the Kestrels, just to kind of go out on his own merit. And who knows if he'll get a chance to do that. Hopefully he does. But he's only been here a few years, but he'll always be welcome and be seen as one of us. And obviously whatever happens, we wish Kyle and the family well.
There ever a chance we'll see him again on the ice with us?
I don't think so. I think the big man's made his decision, but who knows? Obviously we've had some memorial games and testimonial type things. So I think if we could get a chance to bring him back, even in that kind of way, I'm pretty sure he'd be up for it. The one thing he has said, and James Hutchison done the same when Hutchie finished, that he's came back and watched a few games, and certainly always in Whitley he comes and sees the boys. So I don't think Horney will be a stranger. I think he'll definitely try and keep up with the club, and if there's a chance that he could put the skates back on in some way and maybe get a proper goodbye and a good send off, then I think that'd be good for him.
I'm going to try and get him to co-commentate with me in some of the games. It'd be great to have some of his experience. That last goal he scored in North Ayrshire was fantastic as well. I remember that last goal. It was superb.
But make sure if he's co-commentating, make sure you get him before he gets on the beers, because you might never understand that Fife accent.
If we get him co-commentating, it means I can go and hide.
Right. So we'll move on from last season, because this has been the longest close season ever, Martin. What have you been up to? What have the team been up to, and trying to keep things moving along?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been difficult between kind of lockdown for a bit and then slowly starting to open up with the restrictions that we've got. And as players, to be fair to them, they've just kind of been getting on with things, trying to stay in as active and as much shape as they could. At the end of the first lockdown, if you want to call it that, they were in the Ice Bowl car park Scott Crane had them doing kind of marine fitness testing, and I think in their head that was the start of hopefully a pre-season for them, and then that kind of got curtailed again. So they've started a base level of fitness, and that a few guys have been out on the bikes, and some guys now, thankfully, with the gyms opening, have been getting back in there. Obviously, they're all desperate just to get back on the ice now, so it's definitely been difficult for them. A lot of them once hockey's what they do, that's what they want to do, and I know how hard it's been just trying to keep everything together. I mean, I've been lucky personally. I've been involved in an NHL Coaches Association mentorship program. Now on the second one of them, getting webinars and stuff with actual NHL coaches and assistant coaches. So for me, it's just trying to continually learn, trying to stay in touch with people, trying to behind the scenes without trying to get too excited. We're still trying to build a team that we could put on the ice if and when we get a chance to, because I think we've got to be ready regardless. If the decision comes and it comes on quite quickly, we want to still be prepared. But I think one of the things is we don't also want to go out and give too much information out for people to be disappointed. So it's just finding that right mix. And and ultimately we're at that stage now where as a group we're just more and more trying to talk about how things will look if and when we get back, and just get ready for that day. And the sooner we can all get on ice, now the better.
Absolutely, it's been tough for everybody. I mean, Saturday nights are just not the same. Coming along to the Ice Bowl, and obviously the Sunday away games generally. Do you think they are going to get back in ice? Because obviously the SNL's cancelled its programme for this year. The Elite League's not running. it appears like there's a chance that we might get some hockey. Have you got any news on that for us?
Yeah, well, it's that kind of trying to stay optimistic. I think we'll get back on the ice, and I think hopefully it'll be sooner than expected. Whether that means that there's going to be some sort of league or cup competition or tournament, I'm hopeful. I don't know if it will, if I'm honest, but I'm hopeful. Obviously, the news earlier on today was the Elite League getting £4 million, and we're still, I think the governing body's still fighting to see A, how that's going to be split within the sport, or B, is there scope for more funding to come further down into the NHL, SNL, and obviously at the grassroots level. So, I'm having read that today, I'm hopeful that there will be funding of some sort. And, as a club, I've got to commend the board. I think the board have been fantastic and have committed to, I think we've all wholeheartedly committed to that if we can play, we will play. And I think we're ready to play if we can get that nod. And now it's, I guess, the next hurdle is kind of getting this Christmas period out of the way, seeing what's coming around, and hopefully in the new year, there's some sort of competition that we can be involved in, regardless of the kind of level. Whether it be Scotland, England, UK wide. The one thing I can tell our supporters is that we're desperate to play, we're ready to play, and as a club, we're committed to play.
That's great. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of work going on in the Ice Bowl over the summer with new systems being put in place, and some video cameras going to be put in there as well. Do you think we're going to get to see people back, fans back in the Ice Bowl watching us, or do you think it's going to be streaming?
I think it's difficult. I'd love to see. I'd love nothing more. I think we're all the same. Everybody cannot wait for the day that we get back in, and B, we get our fans as a team. We get our fans back in. That's the lifeblood of the club. That's why we're setting these things up, such as SharksTV, and trying to connect and stay engaged with them. And that's what we all miss. We miss playing in front of people. We miss as you said, that Saturday night. I mean, I don't know if I've ever sat watching Saturday night TV before, and I'm at the stage now that I'm buying streaming series on the weekend just to watch. And so, I'd love to think that even in a socially distanced, reduced manner, that we can get people back into the building in a safe, obviously safely is the key, but in a safe environment. I'd love nothing more. I think, if I'm honest, at the start, probably we're looking at some sort of streaming, hence the kind of project going on at the moment, the trial going on with the streaming series in the NHL. And I guess to see if it's financially viable, obviously also to see if it's safe for the players to be in that environment, and hopefully there's nothing negative comes of that in terms of the virus itself. And as a club, like we've said, and we've been part of that. You guys been part of it. We've got now equipment. We've hopefully got the means to at least be able to show our supporters the games. If it's live, then brilliant. We got a video system, which is it's predominantly an analysis system. That's the same system that's used in the NHL. But I'm currently at the moment going back and we're learning how to use it first and foremost, and going back and cutting. I've got a couple of old Whitley games that they put out live, so I'm cutting them up and making templates to what I want to see and tag and view, and but so I think like highlight packages and stuff can certainly be easy enough for us as a club to look at stuff like that. And ultimately, if we can get any hockey out to our fans, it's going to be better than none. But I'm going to stay. I'm staying as positive as I can, and I'm desperate, the same as the next person, to get some sort of support into the building to see us play hockey. And fingers crossed that we can suppress this virus a little bit more, and by the end of the what would have been our kind of regular season time, we could maybe get people in to see some sort of hockey.
There's a good chance. I mean, I think with the vaccine potentially coming as well, there's just that little bit of hope now, and I think we're all optimistic for the future, and it'll be great. As you say, that first day back, that first night back, is something to look forward to, and we'll keep a hold of that. I mean, you said the team's ready to go. Yeah, and you can tell us about the team. You know, who are we looking at? No.
Players. We've got players. No, I mean, okay, like, we're in a situation where we want to hold on to the core of our team. Like, that's the local players. That core is our lifeblood. It's, you know, that's the important thing to us. And we've always had that core, and we've always been able to bring, you know, I guess what starts as outsiders and they become part of us, because a lot of the guys that even we've brought in as travellers have always either stayed a long time, or, you know, some of them have ended up moving here and been with us a long time. So we'll have a core. We'll definitely have a core of local players again. You know, we're talking and looking at, can we utilise the fact that the Elite League's not playing? At this stage, I don't know. I don't know if we can. I know a lot of the guys, have been speaking to them, and, you know, they're like any other hockey player. They're desperate to play. So if we can use any of the contacts I've got there to try and entice a few guys to play, then, you know, I think that'd be great for us as a club. The one thing that I'm very mindful of is, you know, I don't want to bring people in, even though I know they're going to be short term. I don't want to bring them in if they're not the right people, to the detriment of the players that we've got that are hopefully going to be with us a bit longer term, and that we could potentially develop and help them move on. So it's finding the right balance. You know, I think if we can get to the stage where we can get some concrete news and we can start putting stuff out, I'm pretty sure the supporters will be happy, hopefully excited with some of the stuff we've tried to do. You know, there's maybe some old and some new, and obviously some returning players. But right now, you know, I think if we were to play, we'd have one of the better teams that we've had in recent years, and that's a frustrating thing for me and the coaching staff, is that we're quite excited with what we're trying to do. Can't 100% confirm it until we know we're going to play, but, you know, if we're going to play, one thing I can say is if we're going to play, we'll be ready to play, and you know, I'm 100% sure that the fan base will be very happy with the team that we put together.
Well, that sounds really promising. I guess it is difficult. It's difficult to try and get a team when we don't know if we're going to be playing and what sort of competition. So I can see that'd be difficult, and that'd probably even more difficult with imports. Any thoughts on that? Is that the same situation? It's going to be difficult to commit to anything like that until we know if we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with the imports is both of them wanted to come back. I mean, there's no secret. Peter Gaffer wanted to come back. Victor wanted to come back. I think Victor enrolled in college here, and, you know, he was ready to come back. And obviously, with the online learning at the moment, he's at home in the Czech Republic. Gaps we spoke to several times, and he was ready just to come and try and work and try and get some sort of job until hockey started. And I had a conversation when I knew there was an opening in France for him, and we basically both agreed together that it'd be better for him to take that job and earn some money and more importantly play some hockey than sit in Slovakia doing nothing. So, you know, they both want to come back. As a club and as a board, we've committed to, if that's the right thing to do, if, you know, both financially, obviously with the whole isolation periods and travel restrictions, and, you know, we'll certainly weigh it up. And if it's the right thing for us as a team and as a club, our commitment is to put the best team we possibly can on the ice, because that's what our supporters deserve. So, like you say, without a definite on the competition and a start date, it's probably not as clear as a yes or no, but it's definitely something that's very high up in our considerations. And you know, if that is the right thing and with the right people, well, I guess if they two boys are still available by this stage and are happy to come, then there probably would be a strong possibility. If it's not them two, then again, we've got to weigh up what's right for us, or whether we have to just go purely British for a shortened season and then look to rebuild again. It's a kind of ifs, buts, and maybes, but yeah, definitely it's something that we'll definitely consider. And if it's the right thing to do for both the team, club, and for our fans, then, you know, we'll do it.
That sounds great. I'm sure fans will be pleased to hear that. You know, any messages for our fans out there that are desperate for hockey, and, you know, this is our chance to get some sort of hockey this year. We might get it, we might not, but, you know, do you as the coach and, you know, the players want to say to the fans directly?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, obviously everybody's saying the same thing, and it's massively important to stay safe. make sure they're looking after themselves and each other and their families. That ultimately has to be the biggest thing. Is people have to stay safe. I mean, as me as a coach, and I know from the players' point of view, we want to say thank you to them for the support last year, and obviously not just last year, but for every year that anybody's coming to a game and for every week that they come to a game. We appreciate them. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the noise that they've been making. I think certainly over the last few years, the place is getting a much better reputation for the atmosphere that's been generated. I think they appreciate the hockey we're trying to put on for them. And they're a motivation to us as a team. As a coach, I've had numerous chats, team talks, however you want to put it, with the players, saying that we owe the supporters a performance. That we have to do it, and we have to be willing to work for the people that pay the money to come and watch the team. And the boys, I'll give them credit, they respond to that. They do want to have that engagement and that relationship with their own fans. And there's nothing better than an ice bowl that's full atmosphere. And some of the games that we go back again to Racers and probably the Warriors, but some of the atmospheres last year were different class. So we want that. We want them back. We want us to say it's that big thank you for creating what they already do. They can stick with us. I know it's very hard, and things like this hopefully are going to help get some information to them, and hopefully it'll bring some fun and maybe a bit of laughter along the way to them, and hopefully help them through this pandemic. But stick with us, stay patient, stay positive, and I can guarantee you that as soon as we have anything concrete to announce, whether it be for a playing side, whether it be for a roster and personnel side, any news at all. I know it's been a little bit slow recently, but we assure you that we will get that out to you when we can. And if we can do some other exciting things along with, as part of SharksTV or anything else that we can do, then we'll try and do that to just try and keep try and get a bit of normality back to people. But yeah, ultimately it's first and foremost stay safe, and I guess it's wash your hands, and the sooner we can get you back in the ice bowl, then we're ready for you. We miss you, and we're desperate to get you back.
I think on behalf of all the Sharks fans, we miss you guys terribly too. We love our Sharks, and some of the games that you talked about, that game at Murrayfield where Scotty Henderson scoring with 6 seconds to go, the atmosphere there was fantastic, and we loved it, and we travel all over the country to watch our Sharks. So it's great that we've got that connection with you and the players, and we miss you guys terribly. I'd like to just say thanks so much, Martin, for taking the time to do this kind of socially distant Zoom call, and be the first person, quite rightly, the first person on Sharks TV. Just before we go, I just want to ask you one last question. That day when we get back on the ice for the first time, have you got a tune that you want Craigie to play? It can't be rubbish, mind. It's got to be something good. So I'm putting you on the spot here. Give us a tune.
I don't know. I think the natural in my head, I think relevance is probably The Boys Are Back in Town.
The Boys Are Back in Town.
I think we're back. For when the older team, when I was player coach, and a lot of the old guys hopefully will tune in and start watching this. That meant a bit to us back then when I was still playing as well. So if we can go a wee bit old school, get The Boys Are Back in Town now, then I think that would be really apt for being off so long.
Perfect. I'm sure we can make that happen.
I'm sure Craigie with his taste in music and the amount of music he's got out there, he'll think of something anyway for us, because he always does, as do all the people involved and all the volunteers. So hopefully, now it's kind of gets you a bit excited talking about this, but hopefully we just get back to the game and get everybody back to what we love doing.
Okay, thanks, Martin. We appreciate your time. Take care.
Thanks for everything.